In this video, let's take a look at namespaces and where namespaces are like very much helpful. So, for example, let's say you are reading, you are writing a program of some 100 lines. So, in the parallel distribution, so how this works? So, whenever you are working on a project, so you along with your team, so all of you will be working, you'll be splitting the tasks for a project, and you will be working developing on your own code, and then you match your code at the end of the day, right? And end of once you complete all the tasks. So sometimes what happens when what are the declaration variable declarations that you have been using, if your other colleagues are also using the same declaration, sometimes you might end up with some errors. For example, let's say you have used x value, you have assigned a variable called integer x is equal to 5, and someone else they have used the same variable like int x is equal to 10. And when you try to join these ones, like merge into this one, you will end up with some errors. So for some practical and like example use, let's consider a small program over here. So let's say this is like same, right? So I'm going like little fast over here. Input stream in main, we all know like what is the use of this one, return 0, right? Now for example, what I'm trying to say, so let's say we have a variable int x is equal to 1, and you have designed, I mean, you have one more variable which is x, which is equal to 2, and if you try to print out this one over here, you will end up an error. You can see over here. If you run this one, you can see that, hey, redeclaration of int x. So but actually in the real world you haven't done anything wrong, because in your system, your program, it ran very much successfully. But when you merge that one, it is like giving you some errors. And how we can resolve these errors? Using the namespace. So what I'm going to do, right, beneath the headers, I'm going to use namespace. It's a keyword over here. So namespace, I'm going to say first, and I'm declaring the value 1 over here. And also for the second one, namespace second index is equal to 2 over here. So now we have two variables over here, and now let's say int x is equal to 0 here. Okay, and now we would like to print this one, see out x. So once you print over here this one, so whatever the variable that is declared over here within the main loop, it will be taking the precedence and it will print out over here. And if I run this one, you can see the output as like 0. Okay, but if in case if you wanted to print if you wanted to call the same variable x but from the first namespace, you can say something like that, first, this one, you can see first namespace, and if you run this one, it will print the output as 1. And if in case if you would like to have the second value, so just update the second value here, and it will generate your output value as 2. So for example, let's say you don't have int x over here, and then you print the value like this would be fine still, right? Sometimes you know that you're going to use the only second one, not the first variable, and in those cases what you can do, you can just mention like using namespace second, and you don't have to define it over here. So this would be like very neat and clean, but again, this is as per your requirements how you're going to do this one. If you run this one, so this will be fine too. But for example, let's say you have some initial declare over here, but you initiated this one, but you wanted this initial declaration over here. If you run this one, it will print the output value as 0. So always remember that the variables which is declared inside the function, it will be given the first preference, preceding or preference, and then the namespaces over here. Or for example, let's say one more interesting example, you have given an initial declared a variable over here, and you're using the namespace second, but still you can print the first value by defining first over here. So now this should print the output as 1. Okay, again, this must be little confusing, but if you're practicing on your own pace, this would be fine. And again, if you're a student or a working professional, what my suggestion for you is that whenever I'm like writing the code over here, I also recommend you as well to write in the same pace, or like in the same time, or just you can pause for a second and you can write the code. So it will really help you to expedite your learnings, and it will also help you to get more excited and stay motivated, right? And also, let's say one more other case where you can use the namespace very effectively. So let's again keep this one. So instead of hello cpp, you can use like your name cpp or any file, that is fine. So we are writing only this statement, and then this g++ statement whenever you want to execute it in Colab. If you want to execute in Visual Studio, you can save the file .cpp, and then you can click on the run button, it will execute for you. Hash include input output string. So let's take a look at like how a general program looks like. First, int main return 0, right? So let's say I can say like standard string name is equal to Rajiv Puchala, and then now uh, let's print this one, or else we can add some more information. Okay, this is fine. I can say see out, so standard see out, well, let's say like nice one, hello name, right? So let's execute this one, hello.cpp, my executable. So if you run this one, this is something that we already have seen like so many times as of now. So here, if you see over here, we are writing this standard multiple times. So what I can do, let's not write this like many more times. It's again up to you, but I prefer to write this one because I really love C++ when I'm like writing or practicing on my own time. So but if in case if you are kind of a person who don't want to write the things again and again, what you can use, you can use the namespace, using namespace standard, okay? And then you don't have to define it over here. If you run this one, it still prints the same output for you. Hello Rajiv Puchela. So the programming is all about like tricks and gimmicks, and many people writes prefers their own style, and this is something that you should be knowing. Thank you for watching this video.